control yourself, and also not being in control. Because if any of us think that we're completely in control of our life, we're fooling ourselves, and it's just magical. And look, the bike in the mountains just allow for me to continue that development in my life.
I can see by talking to you, and you've mentioned the bully there a lot in the last few minutes. But if you could stand in front of that bully today, now what would you say to him?
I don't need to deal with the bully. Time has helped me. The mountains have been so valuable to me. You know, people look at me as a mountaineer, and they think I take pride and I take kudos out of the summits. That's not the case for me. The mountain is my best friend. It's where I feel safest. I got an opportunity on Everest in particular to cleanse myself from the bully, to strip myself of all that pain and all those scars. Do they go away completely? No, they don't, because bully scars are very in depth, and they're you don't see them. You don't see the black eye. You don't see any of those things. They're engraved inside you. But it's given me the courage to talk about the bully. I can speak about it today without having the emotion. I speak about it very, very openly and honestly with everybody I get the opportunity to talk to about, because whenever people hear about bullying, they automatically think about schools. Unfortunately, today's society, bullying is everywhere. It's in work, it's in people's marriages, it's in society, and it has no room in society. And nobody was put onto this planet to be better or weaker than anybody else. God created us equals, and we leave this earth equal, and we should respect each other on an equal basis. Creed, color, shape, size, and culture. And
I agree 100%.
And I'm very motivated about speaking about that.
Perfect. That's fantastic. I think it's brilliant, Jason, as well, what you're doing, because I think it's very important for young people today. And I mean, you know, and I know that we have children, that it's happening the whole time. Bullying is going on, and as you said, it's 24/7 now. But it's very important for people to hear your story and hear that there is light at the end of the tunnel, because there's so many
Absolutely.
tragedies due to bullying, always. But it's great to hear the good stories too.
I was that close to hanging off a rope. I thought that the world would be a better place without Jason Black in it. And I understand what that darkness looks like and feels like and tastes like. And only for Mother Nature, I wouldn't be here. And so whenever people are bullied and they talk about bullying, the emotion and the gravity of the effects of it, I can understand them wholeheartedly. Too many people use the word bully and they don't understand the magnitude that it has and the impact that it has, particularly in young people. And why in particular in young people? Because in young people, they don't have the skill set or tool set to be able to process it and deal with it. And in some cases, they think it's easier just to get out. And that's very sad.
Yeah, no, I agree. The other question I need to ask you, and it really annoys me when people ask me this question, because we both know Jerry McDonald, and always people used to ask me the question, why? But I suppose the question I want to ask you is, like, you've gone through, you said it yourself, you cycled across America in extreme heat there a few years ago. You've broken ribs from Hell Week. You've fallen off your bike numerous times. You've crashed. You nearly died in Fiji. You've gone across New Zealand, and you faced K2, the toughest mountain in the world, twice. The question is, when you have a wife and family at home, why put yourself through that?
Well, two things. One is Sharon knew what she married. I hate to say it. This is part of my DNA all my life. My identity was created through the great outdoors. I didn't turn into this individual later in life. To the untrained civilian, they only got to know about Jason Black, the endurance athlete, later in life, but I was always this individual. My identity and character was formed as a very young boy. if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, then I wouldn't be the true individual. I wouldn't be true to myself. I have a very, very deep belief in trying to find out how incredible this human body and mind is. One thing I've got a great understanding is that physically we can all train ourselves to race across America. We can genuinely all train ourselves to climb K2. There's skill sets out there that if you have the right attitude and commitment and dedication and behavioral patterns on a daily basis, you can hone those skills and craft to achieve whatever you wish physically. But the greatest gift for me has been the mental battles. The greatest gift has been having an opportunity to open doors in my mind that I never thought existed. And when you open a door and you find a new level, you're a different human being, and you never go back to the default. You never go back to where you were. And we've often heard the phrase that we're only operating of a small fraction of its incredible ability. Well, as a mountaineer and as an endurance athlete, when you're forced into really tough places, and in some cases it's down to you as a human being to survive. And there's very few environments like that. Mountaineers that climb 8,000 meter mountains get that wonderful opportunity. It's down to you. Sadly, some of us perish. That's what goes with the sport. What I say in that case is we can only control what we can control. We have to hand the rest over to our maker. That's my answer. Will Jason Black continue? I don't think it'll ever stop for me. I think for me, I'll keep moving the goalposts based on my age, based on my ability, but I'll always have high achieving goals. They're personal to me. They're not egotistic. I'm not chasing anything for trophies. Anybody that knows anything about an 8,000 meter mountain knows that if you're on an 8,000 meter mountain for your ego, or you're riding your bike to the end of the earth for an ego, you're in the wrong place, because it's all about respect and courtesy and having an ethic towards what you're doing. And the other huge one is to be able to empower people. I really want to be able to stand in front of people with conviction and commitment. And the only way that I can do that is to live it. I'm not an individual that reads something out of a book and preaches it. I'm comfortable walking in my own shoes, learning from my own mistakes. The sadness and tragedies that happened to me in an earlier life has grown me into the individual that I am today. And it's not arrogant, it's confidence that I am unstoppable as a human being, and that the only limiting factor is myself. And that's really what I want to share with people. And so I take all the necessary steps to ensure that I stay safe as well. Like I train hard, I'm not reckless, I'm healthy. I work very, very diligently towards all the things that I should do in order to come home to my wife and my kids and my country.
Yeah, I'm like I said, it's I hate asking the question, but it's a question I'm asked a lot. My next question, Jason, is standing on top of K2 or Everest, standing on the summit. What's that like? What goes through your mind when you're standing on the tip? For Everest especially, you're standing on the highest point on the planet, and of course K2 is every mountaineer's dream to climb to the summit of K2. What goes through your head?
It reduced me to tears, to tell you. When you stand on an 8,000 meter mountain, when I stood on Everest that morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, I was on my own. And the pride that I had in my body was incredible. The pride that I had in my mommy and my daddy, the pride that I had in my grandparents and everything that they had put into me, all the investment and time and energy and the manners and respect and courtesy and commitment and drive that put into me as a human being had all come to this one moment in time. And it was a shared experience. It wasn't about me. It was nothing about me. It was about everything and everyone. It was my collective. It was the perfect storm had come together at one moment in time. And, when I pulled the Irish flag out and the Donegal flag out, it just, it was just mind blowing, and it strengthened me then for K2, because you couldn't have climbed K2 without Everest. It's impossible. You know, anybody that knows anything about K2 is a completely different animal. K2 is the daddy of them all. And I went in there in 2015 and it didn't work out. I got hit with an avalanche and my kit was taken out. I survived and was fine. And then, you know, for a long number of years, I walked around with a stone in my shoe. That's what I called it, you know, the K2. And I went down to Gertie in Limerick and I shared that very important kitchen table with her and the
Of course, for people
family.
that don't
And,
know, Gertie
you know,
was Gertie MacDonald, Joe MacDonald's mother.
yeah, and look, that was a very important time for me, and I was very confused as a mountaineer, coming away from K2 in 15, and you know, probably Gertie knew and the family knew that I was going back, and Gertie said to me, "Look, Jason, you're going back," and I said, "I am," and she said, "I want you to climb with some of Jer's equipment," and she gave me his Jumar, which meant a lot to me, and I kept that very close to me, and it became a very powerful aid to me, motivation wise, mentally and physically, keeping me pushing forward. You know, when the doubt would come into my mind in preparation for 2018, and I climbed with it on that final day, and there was a very spiritual thing happened to me in K2 in 2018, and I said to Jer, because I was shitting myself on the last day, because K2 is a beast. Like, it's, you know, when you get up to the Serac, you know, that big Serac's 10 times the size of a cathedral, and it's ginormous, and you're very exposed climbing underneath it. And I said to Jer, "Come with me, man, just stay with me." And, you know, and I had this Jumar in my right hand, the blue Jumar, and kept looking at it. And I got up round the Serac and climbed through the night. And it's a very poignant place. You know, that's where Jer lost his life, and where this piece of the Serac. And we're all very aware of that, what happened in 2008. And I was consciously keeping it in my mind, but trying to keep it at bay, trying to stay focused on my climb. It was all about getting up there safely and then popping up on top. You know, it was just mental, you know, that they, you know, but knowing I was only halfway there, pulling the tricolour out, making that phone call to Sharon and the kids, the pride of that being Donegal, the pride of being Irish, and, you know, knowing that Jer had got there and had pulled the tricolour out before, the fear of God had ran through my veins, you know, because I knew that he had got there and sensed that exact same emotion, and he had to get out of there, you know, and so did I. And on the way down, there was a Japanese climber that followed us up that wasn't due to be there. They told us they weren't following up at all, and they got into difficulty, run out of oxygen just below the shoulder. And I went down, myself and Alan Fubar, my Sherpa, and she was dying on the ropes, and she was completely out of oxygen. And I stayed with her, and I have it all on GoPro and try to keep her as calm as possible. But she was completely, her mind was gone. It was about to clip out, and Alan Fubar went up and got the oxygen and brought it down. But it reminded me of Jer's journey, where he was prepared to stop and help the other team that was in difficulty when the rest of his team decided to descend. And that very human instinct that he had was playing itself out again with another Irish climber. And but thankfully for me, I was able to help and get down. And I had a bit of self-talk to do on the way down. It's okay, Jason. You're going to survive. You have all the training done. You're strong enough to be here. You have all the preparation done, and it was just magical getting back to Camp 4, taking on some soup, and quite quickly realizing I had to get back to Camp 2. And that's when I felt safe. That's when I made the final phone call to Sharon to say I'm at Camp 2. And just, you know, I am very thankful to the MacDonald family, you know, for believing in me and for giving me some of Jer's kit, because I don't know if they realize it was that strength of Jer that carried me through those final hours of success and survival.
Oh, it's incredible, and even anyone that wanted to listen to your summit conversation you had, they can go onto your website jasonblack.ie and they can listen to. It's absolutely, the hair would stand in the back of your neck listening to that minute or so of you bringing home, and you're so ecstatic and emotional on the summit of K2. It's incredible to listen to. I'd recommend anyone to listen to it.
Yeah, it's because you put so much into it. You know, everything, all your every breath goes into K2. It can't not be. You know, it's so big and so aggressive, and you know, it requires every fiber of strength and commitment, mentally and physically, to survive K2. And you know, I knew from the lessons before in 2015 that it was no ordinary climb. So standing there, that vocal expression is very real, because K2 is K2.
It's like a kettle boiling, and just at the last minute, all the steam comes out. You know,
Yeah.
it's an infectious listen, and I recommend anyone to listen to it. And of course, you were the ambassador, Jason, for the Irish Red Cross on that trip, and you still are to this day. What does that mean to you, being ambassador for the Irish Red Cross?
Well, it means a lot. You know, they reached out to me. They reached out to me basically to ask me would I do it. I didn't really know very much about it other than their charitable campaign. It wasn't really until I got inside the Red Cross and really recognized the fact of the magnitude of what they do, and the gravity and the tentacles that they touch. Not only because when we think the Red Cross, we think globally that they're abroad healing Africa and healing other parts of the world, but they're doing so much tremendous work in their own communities. And in Donegal, I got to experience it when we had the savage floods. Inishowen got wiped out, and it was the Red Cross that stepped in and helped those families in need. So when I was asked to be the ambassador and to carry that flag of hope, you know, as an athlete, I was very proud to do it. And since that, I've continued to do that, and it means a lot to me, and it's motivated me very much. So I've set a new goal, which is it's going to take every fiber in my body, but it wouldn't be a goal unless it was that intent. And it's the big three, and one of them is to row the Atlantic. And the reason that I'm very motivated to do that is because I met two migrants that came to Ireland through the Irish Red Cross that got on a rubber dinghy and left a war-stricken country with their siblings on board, had no food or water. In actual fact, they had no oars. And one of them actually lost all the siblings on the crossing and set sail. Can you imagine what it was like to set sail on a rubber dinghy? And I want to take a human story to the water. I want people to kind of hear a human story over 45 days on a boat that's self-supported. And it's got all the gadgets and toys there to be self-sufficient to get myself safely across. Okay, I'm exposed, but I want to paint a picture of what these people are doing around the world to try to escape, to find a better life. And in some cases, they come to our country and countries like ours, and they're suppressed again, because in some cases they're not welcomed, and society puts them in this box because they don't fit into a criteria. So my contribution to the Irish Red Cross is to be able to carry their story, is to tell their tales. And I was in Rwanda earlier this year, in Uganda, and the work that these people are doing in Africa is mind-boggling. They took 14 young kids that were stolen from Rwanda, taken to Uganda, trained as boy soldiers during the Civil War, used as killers. Their parents thought they had died, and only for the Irish Red Cross, their parents found that they were alive, and the Irish Red Cross stepped in and repatronized them back to their own parents, and put the skill set in place for them to be healed mentally from the scars of the war. So, and that's what's happening globally throughout the world on our own shores, and it's just mind-boggling. And there's so many incredible charities out there that's doing this humanitarian work. So I empower and encourage people, if you see the Irish Red Cross box shaking and them looking for a few quid, do your best to give them what you can, because they're game changers in the humanitarian world.
Wow. And I mean, it's people like you telling these stories to people. I mean, those stories would never be heard, Jason, only for you coming out and saying these things, you know, which is fantastic. People need to hear these stories too, because as you say, people standing there on the side of the street shaking a red box, could be anybody in somebody's mind. But once you hear these stories, you say, bang, well, let's throw them a few quid or whatever, you know. Yeah. So for you going forward, Jay, the big three is your next goal.
So the big three I've put out there as solo ascent of Everest. So I took on the North Face on Everest in 2013, and I was successful there. I want to use that motivation now to, I'm trying to get ready for the race across America. I was due to fly out on the 25th of May to start racing 5,000 kilometers from Oceanside, California to Maryland on the West Coast, east to west, 5,000 kilometers non-stop. But unfortunately, because of COVID-19, it's now been pushed out to next year. And that was a hard pill to swallow. You know, it was 2 years of complete invested energy and time, six days a week, 5 hours a day. Every breath of my body was going into preparation for that race. I was going out there with an attitude to be competitive and also to carry a real story of hope for the Irish Red Cross and empowerment for young people that everything's possible.
And do you have to
the 14th.
Do you have to qualify for that kind of a race, for the Race Across America?
Yeah, so you don't get automatically into that race. I qualified in Race Across Italy. I've got a really good race finishing there, and they give me the entry into it. So thankfully for me,
sorry, I forgot to go you again, but I presume then that because of COVID-19, I presume that your standing will still stay, and that you'll get
the standing stays, and the entry is already reopened. I've applied for it, and I've got back in again, and the date to start is the 14th of June next year. So that's back on my horizon. It's my long-term goal. I can see it, I can visualize it, and I'm a big visualizer. I put into practice my climbs. I can see the summit, I can see the climb, I can see the finish line in my mind, even though physically I can't see it, mentally it's there. And then the big one then is the row. I have a passion about rowing from St. John's Point across the North Atlantic to finish in Donegal. I'm very passionate about rowing back to my own county. That's my motivation, and also they carry that humanitarian flag of hope for the Irish Red Cross, and during that time tell these stories of people's solitude and exposure to the world and to the gravity of crime and war. And I really hope that these journeys, are game changers in people's minds, and on two levels, open the humanitarian human mindset that we're all equal, and that we have no right in this world to frown upon each other or to suppress anybody. And that's really important to me. And the other one is to everybody that chooses to listen, that life is an incredible thing. It's in a gift, and while we're here, we should really embrace it, and we shouldn't just cruise through life. We should really find purpose. We should really ask the questions, what's it all about? And what am I all about? And what am I doing to live and fulfill an incredible life? Because it's a very short journey. And I know personally for me, whenever they put the lid on that box and I check out of here, I want to be able to put the thumb up and say, I lived it, and let's go.
Let's go. Jason Black, it's fantastic talking to you. And I know I've been lucky enough to share a glass of wine with your wife, Sharon, in your company, of course. And I've met Laura, Kate, Billy, and Ella, and I know about the four lads that they're extremely proud of you. I can only imagine how proud Letterkenny is, as well as Ireland is, of you and all your endeavours. I just want to wish you luck for next year. I hope everything goes your way. For myself, I suppose, meeting your hero in life is a fantastic thing. I was lucky enough to meet two of my heroes. One, of course, being Jerry McDonald, and the second one being Jason Black. And Jason, I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk to us today. And as I say, with everything going on with COVID-19, stay safe out there and keep your family safe. And we'll talk again real soon.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very empowering finish. The greatest gift we have in this world, guys, is to make a difference in somebody else's life. Good night.
Brilliant, Jay. Thanks a minute.
Cheers.